In the past 10 years, the cycling industry has experienced a big change, the introduction to gravel bikes. Now we see gravel running shoes. Do they really make sense? Let's find out. Hey everyone and welcome back on the channel, my name is Alex. In today's video we have the review of this shoe, the Salomon DRX Defy GRVL. It's a long name, but the interesting bit comes at the end. GRVL stands for gravel, and this shoe is maybe the first of a new genre, if that makes sense, in the running industry. It's supposedly made for the roads, but can still run fairly well on gravel. What is gravel? If you don't know, gravel is small pebbles on basically a packed dirt surface. It's not a trail, it's not a road, it's gravel. It's off-road, but it's not too technical. Let's look at the specs. First of all, let's look at the weight of this shoe. We have 272 grams in my size, US 11, EU 45, 1/3 with Salomon, 34 millimeters of stack height in the heel, 26 in the forefoot, 8 millimeters drop, 140 euros, very appealing price point if you consider what this shoe is bringing to the table, but we'll discuss that value at the end of the video. Looking at the upper of the shoe, we have an upper that I struggled to enjoy, to be honest, and we had this discussion with other testers at Meta Endurance. Decent upper, there's nothing wrong with it, but it feels like the design at least could be better or perfect if some extra effort had been put into it. The main issue for me is the tongue that, as you can see, maybe here moves quite a bit. It's not gusseted and it's really floating, which doesn't provide with the best sensation on top of your foot. The material as such is not bad, but it definitely doesn't feel super premium. It's quite abrasive if you touch it. The upper, I would say, is kind of below average. Yes, at that price point, you do not expect the best fit, but at the same time, if you want to have a good surprise with the shoe, you at least expect something a bit better than this. It feels fairly similar to the upper of the DRX Bliss, the kind of sister cousin of this shoe on the roads. If you enjoyed it, then it's probably going to work for you here as well. If you didn't, then it's quite close, and I don't expect you to fall in love with this one in case you didn't like the one on the DRX Bliss. The second kind of main issue with this shoe and the upper fit, although it runs through the sides, Salomon fashion, quite long in terms of fit and fairly narrow. The lockdown here around the collar is not ideal, and I could experience some movement of my heel here in this area. Runner's knot, no runner's knot, not a huge difference, obviously a bit better with a runner's knot, but it wasn't dramatically improving the whole fit and upper situation. Looking at the midsole, we have energy foam. As a reminder, it's EVA and olefin block compound blended together, creating that energy foam, a proprietary foam from Salomon. Interestingly, it feels much softer and much nicer compared to the DRX Bliss on the road. It's a different cooking of that foam, lower density. It feels like really day and night. For me, the DRX Bliss was too firm, not really super pleasant and not cushioned enough. This version of energy foam feels closer to the Aeroglide, even maybe softer than the Aeroglide on the road from Salomon. A good cooking of that energy foam, low density. Nevertheless, it's not too squishy, not too mushy, because it is combined with two interesting features. The first one, active chassis, that red thing that you can see right here. This is basically a system that Salomon has developed in the first place for the DRX Bliss on the road, but it's also implemented in this shoe. It helps your foot being maintained and being driven forward without too much lateral deviations. It's basically very high sidewalls in a TPU material, making it a bit stiffer and providing with a nice stability feature that doesn't feel too much like a stability feature, if that makes sense. And this helps to avoid too much collapsing with the low density energy foam. The second feature that makes energy foam really pleasant in this shoe is the most interesting feature of this shoe, the outsole. The outsole of this shoe, as you can see, looks a bit like a trail outsole, but it's not a road outsole either. It's a gravel outsole. And what that supposedly does is good traction, good durability on surfaces that are, let's call them all road, because I think that's probably the best naming convention for what gravel will probably look like in running. I do not have any gravel roads around my place, around the office here, so I went on grass, on mud, dead leaves on the ground because it's fall season here in Europe, but I didn't try this shoe on proper packed gravel like you would probably experience in some other places. However, I must say that because you have that thicker rubber compound outsole on this shoe. It encapsulates very nicely the energy foam, and it makes what I would say probably the best Salomon shoe with energy foam. I did enjoy the Aeroglide, so it's probably on par with the Aeroglide, but it's definitely so much better than the DRX Bliss. The comfort, the upper can be improved, and this is probably where the shoe is kind of not 100% satisfying my expectations, meeting my expectations. But when it comes to the cooking of the foam, the ride of the shoe, and the outsole, which works really well in combination with that foam, it really helps make the combo outsole and midsole shine a bit more. Ride of the shoe, in a few words, I think it's providing with a nice level of comfort, nice level of cushion. It doesn't have any dramatic bounce. It's more of a dampening feel, if I'm being honest. It's more of a cruising shoe that kind of can take you along at different paces without shining really at any of them. But it's versatile, it's doing a fine job and a fine, fun job, if that makes sense, which, for 140 euros, I think is a good thing. And I probably wouldn't have had this shoe on my radar, but now that I know the price point, I know the ride, and I know the versatility, not just in paces, but also in surfaces, I think I rate it quite high. Again, probably because of the price point, 140 euros being quite good nowadays in the running shoe market. If you're interested to get it, there's a link in the description. You can also use code META on topforrunning.com. We will link to the review of the Aeroglides from Salomon, or maybe a faster shoe. This was the review of the DRX Defy GRVL. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Thanks a lot for watching today. Enjoy your run, enjoy your ride, and go beyond your limits. I will see you in the next one.